At the end of a 4-day trading last week, because of the Easter holidays, the Nigerian bourse closed with all-share index inched lower by 0.05% at 53,018.97, despite starting the week with a bullish outcome at 54,232.34. By and large, the ASI depleted for the third consecutive week by 2.28%, while the year-to-date return of the market shrank to 3.4%. Joining me on News Central now is Aziz Lawal, the Managing Director, Trust Bank Assets Management Limited. Thank you, Aziz Lawal, for joining me on the news.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, Aziz. Well, I mean, it's no news that this is the period where the Easter is being celebrated. And of course, there's also the Ramadan season. I would just quickly like to know if any of these two celebrations or festivities have affected the market in any way, whether either positively or negatively.
Yeah, once again, good morning. Thank you. Yeah, typically towards festivities, you see investors sell down their securities to meet obligations, but that's not the case for last week. What we saw last week is what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, where investors have been taking profit and portfolio managers have been taking profits on banking tickers and high-cap stocks, and that was what drove the bearish performance we saw last week. For the whole week, Monday to Thursday, the markets closed on a negative note, and week on week, it lost over 2%, like you rightly reported. It lost 2.28%, largely driven by losses in big bank tickers. Access Bank lost, Airtel Africa lost. We also saw a decline in the shares of Zenith Bank and GT Bank as well. So what we saw last week was largely driven by profit taking in large banking tickers and other large cap tickers. Thank you.
Okay, I mean, speaking of the profits, and we're still talking about the things that shaped the performance of the equity market last week, is there a specific reason why all these losses were recorded across board?
And like I mentioned, typically, particularly for the year that we started on a very strong note, right? So what typically happens after some times is that when stocks gain, I mean, you come into a stock, you buy at 18 naira, and is now trading at 22 naira. That's a 4 naira profit. So you sell to take your profit, right? So that's what we've seen recently. Typically, when investors coming into the stock cheaper and it has now gained to a certain level that they can take their gain, they sell. And that when you have a lot of investors or portfolio managers selling, it kind of depresses the market, right? So that was what we saw last week. So we expect that to persist this week as well. Thank you.
All right, Aziz, finally, before we let you go, looking at the level of liquidity in the system, what should we be expecting from the fixed income market this week?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for the fixed income market this week, we expect the market as well to be bearish. Typically, what happens in the fixed income market is usually driven by level of liquidity. And like what we saw throughout last week, and the system significantly closed in deficit on Friday, closed around 160 billion. And what happens when you get to that level of illiquidity is that market players start to sell down their holdings in different maturities, particularly bond, to meet on short-term, long-term, and short-term obligations. And we expect that to persist this week. Thank you.
All right, Managing Director, Trust Bank Asset Management Limited, Aziz Lawal, thank you for joining us on the news.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.